COVID-19 is spread by what we call large droplets. So I don't know if anyone's seen the SA Health ad for cold and
Yeah, it's a great ad. There's been so much information about how the coronavirus is affecting people. So we want to try and dispel some of those myths. So we're talking to Chief Pharmacist Robin from National Pharmacies. So here I am, and we're here at National Pharmacies, and we're in one of their locations. And I'm here with the Chief Pharmacist from National Pharmacies, Robin. Robin, thanks for coming and having a chat with us.
That's right, a pleasure.
And I've never met a chief before, so I'm so excited. It's the first time, so it's the first time for anything, but we're here to talk about the coronavirus. So what are the main symptoms of the COVID-19?
Spiking of fever, so fever, a dry cough, breathing difficulties and fatigue probably is what we see to start with.
So is it a little bit different than a normal cold? Or because the normal cold, generally you might feel a bit fluey in the head and maybe runny nose?
We don't tend to get the runny nose and that stuffy head, and I guess the issue at the moment is we actually have influenza in our community at the moment, which gives you more aches and pains, and sometimes people think that might be the COVID-19, but also we've got a lot of colds. There's change of seasons, we always get a lot of colds. So, but if you are really sneezing, then you're more likely to have a hay fever or a cold, not the COVID-19. And of course the COVID-19 also starts, sorry I forgot to mention, us with a sore throat.
Okay, so if I'm at work, and both of our businesses have a lot of staff, they're on the front line, they're doing a fantastic job with everything that's going on, and I'm sort of feeling those symptoms, what would you suggest that I should do?
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's those symptoms or you think you're getting a cold or you think you're going to flu, you should not be at work. You should go and talk to your manager and be sent home and directed home. That's what we're doing with our staff because we need them to be fit and healthy to be on the front line, as what do Drake's.
So let's talk about in the stores, in the retail stores. You obviously retail pharmacy, we're retail in a supermarket. We're both essential needs for the whole of Australia, and we play a huge part of making sure that we are continued open and we're continuing supplying food, and in case you guys drugs as well as other things as well. If I walk into a supermarket for my shift and I'm standing there on register and someone comes in with COVID-19, what's the likelihood that I would be catching that?
We're hoping that everyone who has symptoms in the community aren't coming into our stores, but and that's a community issue that they're trying to address in the government.
Yeah.
But of course we've probably heard, and people are concerned, and I think this is where this question's coming from, that people don't have symptoms and coming in.
Yeah.
COVID-19 is spread by what we call large droplets. So I don't know if anyone's seen the SA Health ad for cold and
Yeah, it's a great ad.
and the person sneezes, and you see those really big droplets. Big droplets only go about 1 metre before they will hit the ground. So if you are 1.5 metres, and we do that social distancing, that's why it's really important that we do. And at your cash registers that people do stand back, and we give our people permission to tell people to stand back, and I'm sure Drake's are too.
Yep.
Then you won't get any of those droplets onto you, and you'll be quite safe on that person.
So if someone's in the aisle next to me and sneeze, and every these days people are like jumping around if someone sneezes, and I walk around and I go into that aisle, is there any chance I could catch
No,
it?
because that would have already dropped down onto the ground. So they don't stay in the air, because you can think of, when you spray something that's heavy, it drops very quickly.
Yeah.
But if you've got a fine atomizer, maybe hairspray, it can go a lot further.
Yeah.
These are heavy droplets, so they drop really quickly.
So if someone comes to my register and I'm on register and I'm putting through their fresh food, which they've picked with their hands, and they've grabbed every product off the shelf with their hands, what's the chances of me actually catching coronavirus from scanning someone's items?
Well, what we're saying is we can get it from any surface, because if someone hasn't done the right thing with the hand hygiene, that's why we are very, you hear in the media, hand hygiene and distancing, and cough, making sure people don't cough out but cough into their elbow or use a tissue. It's because if it's on someone's hands, it won't go through the skin, of course, so you're safe for that. It doesn't go through the skin, and it doesn't really come off food that you eat. We know that. But if you touch anything, I'm talking about a light switch, getting into car, trolleys, anything. So it's really important before you shift, after you shift, wash your hands. And we know hand gel is good in between, which you probably have at your tills. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, we've got sanitizer.
Sanitizer. Using that regularly in between customers if you've got enough and you can.
Yeah.
But it's making sure you wash your hands before you eat, when you finish your shift, when you get home from work, wash your hands. And no rubbing of your eyes, rubbing of your nose during a shift. We've just got to consciously not do that, because the virus will go from hand to mouth to eyes and through nose, and that's how it gets into our system.
Yeah, we obviously encourage hand sanitizer. Some of our people have been saying they want to wear gloves.
Well, gloves aren't going to help you, because if you've got your gloves on and you still wipe your nose, you're still going to get infected.
So
and it doesn't go through the skin.
It doesn't.
So, if you wear gloves, you almost have to take them off. Every time you serve someone, take your gloves off and throw them in the bin.
So it brings me on to masks.
Yeah.
From what you're telling me, if I've got a mask on, it's really going to make no difference at all for me as a retailer.
Yeah.
So what is the point of the mask?
So masks are very useful if you have a positive or have COVID-19 or suspect you have and have to be in self-isolation and maybe have to go out or you to the doctors or another family member is going to be in the same place as you just for a brief time. Because what that does is stop those droplets. Think of those big droplets then going any further if they stay in the mask.
Yeah.
Where if you wear a mask, they get these are the disposable masks we're talking about, and they're the ones that are around at the moment. So if you wear one of those disposable masks, they get wet from your breath. It's very humid, and they get damp quite quickly, and that does not stop anything coming through them. So unless you are changing them really very regularly, as soon as they get damp, which we just don't have, they don't work. So we need to keep those for the doctors who need them, who do that. They're with patients and they need to have them on, and they replace them every patient.
Does hand sanitizer actually work?
Yes, if it's used correctly. And so and there are lots of good videos on YouTube, so go and have a look.
Yeah.
And the one I saw recently was someone had gloves on and ink. So they put a bit of black ink in their hands and then just started doing the protocol, and you could see that if they didn't do the fingers, the thumbs, the back of the hands, that it didn't go where it needs to be, because remember to do it correctly. And I'm sure you've got posters up everywhere in Drake's, like we have at national pharmacies, to make sure that people are doing it, doing this, doing this, doing the thumbs, making sure you get in between the hands. So it's really important. You just don't do that. It's not gonna help. You've got to do it properly. And the same when you're washing your hands. Remember the happy birthday or whatever song you want to do. Go through twice, and really soap and wash your hands for that amount of time. None of this just under the tap and off you go. Take your time to protect yourself.
Why customers are in our stores, the 1.5 metre, the social distancing rule, we're at 1.5 metres here, that's imperative, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that was what will save this country.
Robin, what would be your top tips for making sure we can do our best to stop the spread of the COVID-19?
And to keep our teams healthy, because we're on the front line and we will be throughout this, both your teams and mine, is to really, that social distancing is really important. It has been recommended, and the Prime Minister said last night, don't have people over for dinner, don't have birthday parties, 1 or 2 people in your family, that is all. That will stop the spread as it starts to spread through the community, as we know that will happen. Hand hygiene is really important for everybody, not just us on the front line, but everybody. So making sure that you, before and after shifts, when you get home, wash your hands and take the time to wash them properly. We know soap and water is better than alcohol gel or the hand sanitizer, so make sure you're washing them properly. Make sure that in between transactions, if you can, or as often as you can during the day, use a hand sanitizer. So
thank you, Robin, for giving us that insight. And to hear from an expert in the field, it's so reassuring to hear that.
We'll do that.
Thanks. Thanks.